Welcome to our channel.
There is a whole cottage industry of doctors helping parents skip their kids' vaccines. In December 2014, a 11-year-old went by a Disney amusement stop in California and a while later got a rash. It was measles, and throughout the following a little while the illness spread to no less than 136 Californians, and in addition individuals in 7 different states and 2 remote nations. This was no fluke case. Despite the fact that measles was, as far as anyone knows, disposed of in the United States in 2000, on account of the exceedingly successful measles, mumps, and rubella antibody, MMR, it has returned thundering, with 667 affirmed cases across the nation in 2014 alone. Among the California patients in the Disney episode, no less than 36% hadn't gotten their MMR immunization. Some were excessively youthful, making it impossible to have gotten their shots, however the greater part were unvaccinated by decision. Notwithstanding school prerequisites, it was anything but difficult to skip inoculations. All guardians needed to do was sign a shape expressing that vaccination is in opposition to my convictions. From 1996 to 2014, the rate of kindergartners with individual conviction exceptions more than quintupled. What's more, this wasn't only a California marvel, 47 states permit religious or individual conviction exceptions. Be that as it may, California is no longer among them. The Disney episode pushed state legislators to pass SB 277, which dispensed with the individual conviction exception. It has been an immunological grand slam. In the 2016-17 school year, 95.6% of Californian kindergartners got all their required inoculations, the most elevated rate since current vaccination necessities started in 2001. In any case, while the quantity of individual conviction exceptions has restorative exclusions, which require the mark of an authorized doctor, have risen. Writing in the Journal of the American Medical Association in September, scientists found that in the course of the last 2 school years, the rate of changeless restorative exceptions for kindergartners tripled. The rate, which had drifted around 0.15% for almost 2 decades, is presently 0.51%. Half of 1% won't not appear like much, but rather it isn't equitably appropriated. In more than 24 government-funded schools over the state, every one of them contract schools, more than 10% of understudies in kindergarten or 7th grade, one more year when the state studies, had a changeless therapeutic exclusion, or PME, last school year. Yuba River Charter School, around an hour's drive west of Lake Tahoe in provincial Nevada City, had PMEs for 16% of kindergartners and 30% of 7th graders. Sunridge School in Sebastopol, a town in Sonoma County, had PME rates of 39% and 36%, separately. The earlier year, neither one of the schools had any medicinal exceptions. Their inoculation rates are similar to Haiti's. Powering this spike in medicinal exceptions is an industry of specialists willing, and once in a while energetic, to ridicule the suggestions of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention for the sake of parent decision. Led by Orange County pediatrician Bob Sears, writer of the compelling The Vaccine book and child of pediatrician and Connection child rearing master Bill Sears, numerous doctors are careful about the CDC's inoculation plan, trusting that giving children an excessive number of immunizations without a moment's delay might be risky. In 2013, the Institute of Medicine found no proof that the timetable was perilous. The specialists are upheld by a development of hostile to antibody guardians, huge numbers of whom trust the MMR immunization causes a mental imbalance. That view is established in a 1998 paper that was later withdrawn by The Lancet and denounced a detailed misrepresentation by the British Medical Journal. However, the harm has been finished. In 2015, not long after SB 277 was passed, a California-based philanthropic flew-up called Physicians for Informed Consent, PIC. A coalition of around 200 specialists, researchers, and lawyers who fervently restrict required immunization laws, it brags Sears as an establishing part. In the meantime, Sears is right now confronting charges of gross carelessness from California's medicinal load-up. The board has claimed that while allowing a medicinal exclusion for a 2-year-old, Sears neglected to get the patient's therapeutic history and other essential data. Contingent upon which way the board rules, Sears could have his permit renounced. Burns declined to remark on his case. PIC's participation is private, however its rundown of establishing individuals and board individuals is open. I called a considerable lot of those specialists' workplaces and asked what I would need to do to secure a therapeutic exclusion. One center outside Los Angeles said I would simply need to finish a hereditary test. When I asked which conditions justified an exception, a few workplaces said there was a not insignificant rundown of conditions that would qualify. One office aide said her thyroid issue had secured a medicinal exclusion for her child. As per Catherine Edwards, a teacher of pediatrics at Vanderbilt University, utilizing such tests isn't logically stable. She includes, there truly are not particular hereditary markers for disclosing to us when patients will have unfriendly occasions related with immunizations. Shira Miller, PIC's leader, kept in touch with me in an email that her association endeavors to ensure its specialists give restorative exclusions as per California law. Certainly, there are medicinal conditions that do justify an exception. Youngsters whose invulnerable frameworks are traded off won't not have the capacity to deal with antibodies. In any case, by Edwards' gauge, kids with a honest-to-goodness requirement for a therapeutic exclusion represent only 1% of the populace, tops. It is extremely unlikely that 10 or 25% of kindergartners in a solitary school have a legitimate reason. I don't need kids to get antibodies who shouldn't get immunizations, says Edwards, yet I've remained at the bed of kids who are biting the dust. I realize that if there was an immunization that could have kept that, the family would have needed that.